Hello, this is High Templar. Welcome back to my Total War Warhammer 2 news video. And this time we have a lot of news because there is lots of information. There was an article on the Reddit that summarized what we know about Total War Warhammer 2, and I wanted to make my own. I also listened to the interview with the creators and watched some images. There was quite a few of them released in the last 2 days. And I want to basically gather that and tell you what I think about it, add some additional information that is not present in the Reddit post. However, most of it will be taken from there. So let's start. Firstly, we have a new type of settlements, which will be the Fortress Gate. The Fortress Gate is a settlement exactly like other, so it means it can generate income, you can build building there. However, if you want to get from the outside of Woodland, from the outer realms of the Woodland to the inner realms of the Woodland, you would have to go through one. And if you don't own one, you would have to basically play a siege battle, which is supposed to be pretty hard. So this is some additional defenses for the High Elves. If you know what the outer realms and inner realms of the Woodland is, I will leave a link to my video about the High Elves campaign that I did quite some time ago, like at least half a year ago. But in general, there are few kingdoms, few dukedoms that are in the inner side, around the inner sea of the Woodland, and then there is a mountain spine. And then there are outer realms who are on the shore of the ocean. And these are basically inner and outer realms. Alright, so this is the Fortress Gate. And Fortress Gate, as I mentioned, adds something interesting because you have to go through them to get to the elves. Then there is a treasure hunt, and I was already mentioned treasure hunts before, but we now know a bit about the mechanics. You will be given a menu style adventure when you will have to pick some choices, and based on those choices you will be given either reward or something bad will happen to your army, basically. And there is a finite number of those events. However, there's supposed to be a lot of them, so you can get a repetition, but you are unlikely to get a repetition, at least at the very beginning, which is pretty cool. And I like those events, for example, in Rogue 2, when you had to make hard choices and you never really knew what will happen if you pick one or the other. Then there is a new thing that will be in the battles. There are bridge battles, and the AI was improved to be able to handle bridge battles. So we will have to see how well is that working. And I'm actually pretty psyched. We had bridge battles in Rome and I believe Attila as well. So that would be welcomed addition. There will be ocean hazards because you will get fleets. There will be no sea battles, but it will only be auto resolve. But you can go through the ocean, because there will be quite a lot of the ocean there. And there will be some hazards, and one of the devs explained some of the hazards like a storm that you will be able to actually see on a map. And this storm will be moving, so you will be able to avoid it to some extent. But you have to go quite a way around it because it will be moving, so you're not really sure when it will land next turn. Then there is a map size when we are talking about the ocean. It's said to be similar to Warhammer 1. The question is whether that includes the ocean or not, because it's quite a big of the ocean and people assume the landmass will be similar size, and that would actually make sense, because otherwise it would be a very empty map indeed. But there is such possibility, so mind you that. Okay, the other change that was made was to the settlement size. Now the major settlements have 8 buildings and minor has 6. And if you have Warhammer 1, this will be also applied to the Warhammer 1. I do believe in combined map. I'm not sure if the old campaign map will have that change. Then the Bretonnian trade system will be applied to all races, and that's also included the races from the Warhammer 1. So this is pretty cool because you are getting some cool traits and you know exactly why you got them and when you got them. So this was excellent for the Bretonnia and I loved it. Right, then we have Vortex, and we were told that the mechanics of the Vortex is that you have to gather certain resources or you would lose, but you can also play in different way. Just ignore those gathering resources and just conquer everything. And the devs were asked how this will exactly work, and they basically describe how it will work. If you lose the Vortex race, then you will be given a large battle. You will be teleported to the battle or something like that. But this battle will be much harder if you didn't gather the resources. Still, it is a winnable battle and you can win without it. Okay, there will be more in-game cinematics, and this will be more related to the story than, say, ninja-like cinematics from Shogun 2, which I loved, were absolutely brilliant, but this will not be the case. Another thing is Geomantic Web. So, Geomantic Web is something that is connecting the Lizardmen settlements, and it basically tells you what kind of commandment you can give to your provinces, if I understand that correctly, based on the lowest level of the settlement in the web. Which means it will be very, very good for you to get certain settlements, and if your ally, for example, have the settlements, it will be pretty bad for you. Also, taking those settlements from the Lizardmen during the head-to-head, for example, will hit them hard. So this is an interesting mechanism and I'm looking forward to see this in an action. Okay, the other thing that was mentioned here is connected to the generic lords. Generic lords, some of the more powerful generic lords will have to be unlocked. And for the slums, for example, this will have to be awakened. This will be type of a quest or campaign event or something that you will have to do to make a slum, just generic slums, not named characters, available to you. For the High Elves, you have a special resource called Influence, and with enough of this influence you will be able to unlock Princes, which is also pretty cool. And the influence is another thing that I can talk about. The influence is unique to the elves. The High Elves will be able to unlock, will be able to see everything that's happening in the territory of anyone they trade with. So they don't have to have an alliance with the guy. It's enough they trade with the guy and they know everything what's happening there. And the other thing is they will have this influence. And how the influence will work is they will be able to spend this influence to, for example, make factions that were allied to each other fight each other, which is very, very interesting thing indeed. I assume it will be easier for the people to declare war on each other when they were not friends, so you will have to spend less influence, but either way, it's a really interesting thing. Another thing is actually visible on the screen, and this is this. This is army abilities. Army abilities you will unlock on the map as well, and it will be assigned to the army, not to the lord. And there will be different things, for example, ability to teleport Cold One units into the battle for the Lizardmen, or summon the Eagles for the Elves, which is, you know, pretty cool indeed. And this is regardless of the Lord. Then, what do we have? For the Dark Elves, we have confirmed that they will be slave mechanic, but we don't much about the slave mechanic right now. For all the dragons in the new Warhammer, and if you have an old one, it will also apply to the old ones, there will be a breath attack. That will be an active thing that you release, like the Fanatics, for example. But your dragon will be able to, like a breath spell, attack the enemies while flying, which is pretty badass. And the Forest Dragon and the Zombie Dragon will also have those abilities, which is again very cool indeed. There will be a Skegi and Vampire. Basically, they are confirmed that they will be present on the map. So Vampire Coast and the Skegi, which are Northern tribe, much like Skelling or Varg. But they also mentioned Tilans. The one of the devs mentioned Tilans, which is pretty cool indeed. And I was waiting for those Tilan conquistadors. I'm hoping they fleshed Tilia a bit more. I would really like to see that. But it's not confirmed. Like, he mentioned it, but he didn't actually said it in a game. Alright. There is also reworking magic skill tree, and this is something that I love, because before you had to put very little skill points in a magic tree to be very powerful, and right now there will be 3 points per spell. First point will allow you to cast a spell, second point will allow you to overcast this spell, and third point will reduce the cost of this spell. So it will make some of the spells more powerful, but you will have to pick which ones will you get, basically, which is super cool, in my opinion. For when we are talking about spells, we can talk about Teclis. Teclis will have some passive abilities from different schools of magic, and he will probably get more spells than other lords, but he will not, in all likeliness, he will not get access to all 8 lords, because that would be silly. But we did see some mixed school casters, like with the Wood Elves and with the Strigoi, so with the Branch Right, with the Wood Elves, so they have some shadow, some life. So it's possible that Teclis will have some spells from first normal skill from the high magic, and then some mixed 3 for different spells from different schools of magic. That would be also pretty cool. But this is not yet confirmed as well. And we don't really know what will be the special magic for the Musdamundi. But it is confirmed, more or less confirmed, that the Teclis will have passive abilities that we get for the schools of magic. Then we have some information about High Elf High Elf army roster. And aside from the ballista we've seen before, bolt thrower, there will be White Lion of Race, and if you've seen my video about the trailer, you know that I already spotted them in the trailer, so I was sure they are there. They will be also Sword Masters of Hoet. They will be Silver Helms as the best cav so far seen. Dragon Princes are not confirmed yet. There will be a Sand Dragon, there will be Illyrian Reavers. For the units that are confirmed, well, obviously the Spears are also confirmed, and they also confirmed that there will be an Archers with a range of 170, which is so far the highest range unit, and they intend for the High Elves to have highest range Archers in a game, which is pretty badass as well. Kruger has some abilities, and you might seen them before. And one of them is actually working similar to the strike that lightning strike that the Kolek have. So yeah, but apart from that, and he's pretty badass. He can. The person who played the quest battle that you can see right now, was actually fighting with the Kruger. Not only he was fighting some elves, but also he fought in the same very battle a Sand Dragon, and he won that. So Kruger is pretty badass. There is also some information about Rampage mechanic. So it's working pretty much the same way as it worked with the elephants. But your units will go out of the Rampage at some point. It will last for some time and they will go back. And then you will still have, again, control over the unit. And you can go back and you can get this unit back. And since so many units have this Rampage, the person who played the quest battle said that it was actually hard to manage all that. It was very micro intensive because of that Rampage, and because some units has gone back, so we could put them back in the fight, and so on and so on. So this is interesting as well. Also the sorry, I lost my thought for a second because I was thinking about a new thing that I wanted to talk about. So the Rampage mechanics is working in this way. It's micro intensive, and that's it. And another thing that devs still do not want to confirm the Skaven in a game, which is obviously they are preparing some big reveal trailer, but we know the Skaven are in a game. It's even in the logo, it's seen here, this is a Skaven symbol, and there was a rat, so we know, okay, we know. Southlands was also pretty dead giveaway, so there's that. Right, there will be new option for a multiplayer battle that will be not available for the quick battles, only for the custom battles, and they actually want you to look into what battles are there with higher funds and what's not, to actually not play only quick battles but spend more time in a lobby looking for interesting battles. And this new type of a battle will be free for all. So people who seen a trailer, seen that there was actually free for all between High Elves, Dark Elves and Lizardmen. And this is obviously badass. Here you can see abilities for the Krogsgar, right? Including that lightning strike attack. And here is the army summoning of the cold ones. Right, going back to the free-for-all. Yes, there will be free-for-all, and the winner will be not the last man standing, but actually will be based on the amount of the damage dealt. So basically most ferocious player, even if he died first, will be awarded the win. Which is pretty cool indeed. The co-op campaigns will be available for the same race only. So if you want to play co-op and you want to play High Elves, you either play Tyrion or Teclis, and the other person has to play the other twin. There is no other choice. You cannot play Lizardmen High Elves co-op. When you will be playing head to head, it's pretty much whatever. And the last thing is that there are more DLCs that they are preparing. They have a large freedom to bring things that are present in the lore, but are not really. There are no army books for it, for example, or they have much freedom in it. Or there were army books, but they are very old and outdated. So we might see Tila, we might see Pygmies, and that I've mentioned last time in my Southlands video. So they are also planning King and the Warlord style DLCs, which means we will get new lords and some new units for the existing factions. So I'm thinking Ark of Sotek, which right now is not in the Lizardman roster, on Reaper Dactyls, which would also be really cool. We could get those things. Right, and they also like Regiments of Renown. And it's unclear whether they said they just like it or they will replicate Regiments of Renown in the Warhammer 2, but I think it's pretty clear they do want to bring Regiments of Renown into the Warhammer 2 as well. And this is pretty much it. I hope you like this compilation. If you did, press like, comment if you will, and see my other videos. In Total War Warhammer, mechanics videos, mod reviews, DLC analysis, speculation videos, and also let's plays in Total War series and other games. Thank you for watching, and see you later.